Should I speak something for that? Is this the audio enough? And if there is a possibility, if one of the laptops can be okay. Thank you, ma'am. I hope I'm assuming that there are about 100 people in front of me whom I can't see, and I would have loved to be there in person. This session would have been just a moment. So I just got a confirmation that my audio is clear for the entire hall. If there is a possibility, please face one of the laptops, keep one of the laptops facing the audience with camera on, ma'am. That's a request if possible. That's not too much of a effort. Because this is like one unique session for me. See, we do in-person workshops. We also do virtual workshops. But in virtual workshops, we know at least some of the audience are, most of the audience are with us on the bridge, right? So this is one unique where I don't know who's in front of me, but I'm assuming. So Beena ma'am had sent me one photo. So I'm assuming that photo I'm going to deliver this. First of all, thank you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you for placing trust in me that I can add something of value to the audience, to all the dignitaries and all the faculties and all of you participants whom I wish I could see sometime. Uh, Now the topic for today that was given to me is so research in everyday life, and of course how design thinking could also help you, right? So from this session, and we would like to keep this session interactive, and I don't know how that's going to work. Let's see. I will have some questions in between for the audience as well, and we'll have some other forms of interaction as well. And I have two requests to all of you. The first request is be very open in this session. This is your session. This is not my session. And so please be very open, in the sense open to new thoughts, ideas. But I'm going to tell you that what you're going to see is not, might not be something totally new. Okay, it's about giving you uh, a way to solve problems in your everyday life. So all of us face situations and problems in everyday life, right? So how do we solve it? It can also apply to your academics, it can apply to your profession, it can apply to your career, and it can apply to your home as well, and society everywhere. That's the intent of this. And thank you, ma'am, for the warm introduction. So let's get started. I have a presentation to take you through this journey. I can see a video being tested. I think please go ahead and try that out, ma'am. If there is a way I can see the audience somewhere, that will be very helpful. Yeah, great. I am almost able to see. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, I could see the faculty members and uh, probably dignitaries on the first row. Thank you. Hello, ma'am. Thank you. Of course, because all the lines are muted, I'm not able to hear anything. I wish I was there in front of you in person, but maybe I couldn't make up. I'm joining from Bangalore now. So let's get into this. Ma'am, are mobile phones allowed in the hall for the students? Yes, right, ma'am. Our students or participants would have their mobile phones with them, right? The line is muted. I can't hear. Okay. So let's start with the fastest fingers. Let's see who has the fastest finger. I'm going to present my screen and for a presentation. Please let me know when you're able to see the presentation. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. I hope you're able to see my presentation. Okay, great. Okay, so this is what we are going to cover. Okay, there are three simple things we are going to take it through. This is a very simple topic. Okay, we will touch upon three things. What is research in everyday life? Okay, and how design thinking as a method could help each one of us in this room, students, faculties, leaders, everybody, right, in this room. How this could help you, whether it is about sending your children to school, whether it is about going to college, whether it is about doing a project work, or whether it is about handling your classes, whatever, right? It could be anything. Maybe how design thinking as a method could help you. Very, very simple set of ideas. And maybe we will see if possible, we'll try this out in this session. Can we use this to solve something? Can we use to solve one problem of somebody who's sitting next to you? Through the course of this session, we will try that out if the time and this whole thing permits. We could have done this much easier if I was there in person, but we'll still try this out. So I have a question to all of you, and we'll start with research in everyday life. Now, I have a question to all of you, and some of you might be familiar with this Menti polls, right? Mentimeter. For the others, it's very simple. This way, I asked you, do you have a mobile phone? So pick up your mobile phone, search for menti.com, MENTI. And when you go there, you would be prompted to enter a code, and you can enter the code that is on your screen, 17976302. The question is very simple. Name some skills that you think are essential for success in today's life. It could be academic success, and given that majority of audience are research students or students in pursuing higher education, right? Now, for you, maybe when you get into a research profession or some kind of career, it could be a job or you can become an entrepreneur, whatever it is, right? Maybe 3 years, 5 years down the line, what do you think? If I have these kind of skills, I will be very successful, right? uh, you can go to this poll and enter. We would love to see what everybody in this room is thinking, because I heard that there are more than 100 people in this room. We have to give a chance to all 100 to speak, voice out their thoughts, but we have to do it in the next 2-3 minutes, right? That's why we are using this. So I'm going to share my screen from a Menti per se. Let's see what kind of responses we are getting. So the code is 1797. I hope you're able to see it on my screen on the top. Oh, sorry, I think that I made a small mistake with the code probably. It is 16450060. I beg your pardon. Okay. So 16450060. This is the code you have to enter when you're prompted for a code. You have to go to www.menti.com. We'll give it exactly 1 to 2 minutes to hear from everybody. And this is open for all the participants, including faculty members and other leaders. Would love to hear your thoughts. If you have any difficulty, please do let me know. One 16450060. That's the code you have to enter. Answer in single word. Okay, don't write 10 mark answers. These are all 1 mark questions. Okay. Okay. We could also talk about what are the skills, right? We will talk more about skills, not only about factors around us. We are getting interesting responses. What are some of the skills that we need? And we are talking about tomorrow's jobs. We are getting some very interesting responses. And if you have to talk about tomorrow's jobs, right, which some of these don't exist today, and you might be either being a part of this, or you might be leading some of these jobs. Okay, very interesting responses. Let's kind of read out. Communication skills seem to be the topper. I completely agree. And what else? Knowledge, hardworking, participation, logical thinking, robotics, logical thinking. Okay, learning skills, adaptation, hardworking, being a team player. Okay, digital skills, technology, blockchain. Okay, technical skills, fantastic. We are getting some great responses. I hope I'm audible because my camera is stuck. Okay, but I hope I'm audible. Now, if we kind of pick up some of this most important things that you have mentioned, right? Of course, hardworking is definitely a trait. Maybe I'm not sure if we can call it a skill, but definitely a trait that is required for success in anything that we do. But if we look beyond it in terms of skills, I think as most of you have rightly said, yes, communication will play a very important role. And if you look at the one more thing that most of you have chosen, right? I think logical thinking. Now, what will logical thinking lead to? Where exactly can we apply logical thinking? What do you think? Where do we apply logical thinking? Naturally, it will be in solving some problem, right? You would not apply logical thinking to brush your teeth, right? If it's something that doesn't need thinking at all, you wouldn't need that, right? So that is required when we have to kind of do something new, when thinking is required to solve a problem, right? So in that sense, the point that I would like to drive through this interaction is thanks to all the 42 people who responded and all the others who haven't responded. We have one or two more opportunities. We would love to hear from you as well. Now, let's look at come back to this presentation in terms of where we have picked up from here, right? So most of you have, in terms of logical thinking, which leads to problem solving, I think many surveys and many experts clearly call out that there are 2, 3, 4 skills that are very, very essential for success, especially in the future jobs or in the future professions. Of course, communication is very important, and creativity is important, and collaboration, working as a team, is important. And one more very, very important skill is uh, logical thinking. Ma'am, can I just request a confirmation if I'm still audible, because my camera is stuck. I don't know if I'm audible. Can please confirm, ma'am? On and off, my camera gets stuck for me. Just seeing a confirmation. Okay, I am audible. Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Uh, so why problem solving, right? So problem solving is something that uh, is required because the world is changing every day, right? So 2 years back, would 3 years back, would any of us assume that the learning will be totally virtual for another 1.5 years, right? But then all of us adapted to a very different new method, right? So there is a problem that we can't move out of our house, but how did we solve it? We adapted, right? By using virtual as a means. But there are beyond that, right? It gives us an opportunity to make the world better. Of course, there are uh, because of COVID, I've seen that because there was more technology, there were schools in very remote rural areas which did not have enough teachers, and these schools had access now because technology was become given more importance. Even children for these schools who would not have teachers 5 days a week, now they had access to some of the best teachers because they could have a digital device in front of them, right? So sometimes you can also create an opportunity to make the world better for people around us. And of course, when we solve problems, I don't know how many of you in this group like math, right? If you like math, every time you do a correct answer, you will definitely have a sense of achievement, right? And if it's not math, of course, all of us solve problems around us every day, right? And it gives a sense of achievement, and ultimately it's also fun when we do this, when we do something totally new, right? So in that sense, research in everyday life in terms of application of research is many times to do with solving problems around us, right? And by problem, we are not talking about very, very big problems, right? For example, how do we address countries' problems or states' problems? Not that level, I'm saying. Our own problems. It could be about how to do a project better. It could be about, as I mentioned, how to make the class more engaging, right? It could be simple things around us on a day-to-day basis that we can kind of address. And each one of us have been different ways, right? So maybe if we could have some interaction for a couple of minutes now, would love to hear from the audience. Can you tell me about a problem that you recently solved? I'm talking about very simple day-to-day problems, okay? Not very complex things, but can you talk about some, uh, maybe two, three of you can talk about a problem that you recently solved, or even it might not have solved, but how did you go about it? Talk about the problem and talk about how did you approach it. It may or may not have solved. Maybe can take a minute each one of you. We can listen to two, three people from the audience. In case any of you are speaking, I'm not able to hear because the lines are muted. Hello. I'm still not able to hear anyone. Ma'am, is it possible to have some kind of interaction? Maybe once in a while, not frequently. We can also do other digital ways of interacting, but just trying to see if we can hear from some of the participants. Hello. Okay, sure. I'll wait, ma'am. Sure. If it's very difficult, we can move on, but maybe it'll be good to have some kind of interaction because it'll be very useful for the participants to connect it back to the session.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Am I audible, sir? Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning, ma'am. I don't know if there is some bandwidth issue. The voice is a little cracky. I hope my audio is clear. I'll stop sharing my screen for a minute. Are you able to hear me clearly? Yeah, I can see somebody closer to the screen.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning. Good morning, friends. So எனக்கு வந்து ரீசெண்டா வந்து பார்க்கிங்ல பைக் எடுக்கும் போது இன்னொருத்தவங்க நம்ம ஸ்டூடெண்ட் இன்னொருத்தவங்களோட பைக்ல வந்து என்னோட ஷால் பட்டு கழுத்து வந்து லைட்டா கீரல் வந்துருச்சு. கொஞ்சம் பயங்கரமாவே கீரல் வந்துருச்சு. சோ அது வந்து நான் எப்படி சால்வ் பண்ணேன்னா, நான் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் அன்னைக்கு போயிட்டேன் அந்த நாள். நெக்ஸ்ட் டே வந்து நாங்க என்னோட சாரி ஐம் கிருத்திகா, ஐம் ஃப்ரம் எம்ஏ எக்கனாமிக்ஸ். ஸோ என்னோட ஹெச்ஓடி மேம்க்கு நாங்க சொன்னோம். அவங்க வந்து உடனே வந்து வைஸ் பிரின்சிபல் மேம் வந்து கூட்டிட்டு போனாங்க. அவங்க கிட்ட எங்க ப்ராப்ளம் சொல்லும் போது அவங்க யூனியன்ல தான் வந்து எங்களோட ப்ராப்ளம் வந்து கம்ப்ளீட்டா சரி பண்ணாங்க. மேம் எந்த மேம் கிட்ட பேசணுமோ அவங்க கிட்ட தான் பேசி நான் வந்து வீட்டுல வந்து சாதாரண ஸ்கிராட்ச் தான், ஒன்னும் பிரச்சனை இல்லைன்னு சொல்லிட்டு அவங்க என் அம்மா அப்பாக்கு எல்லாரையும் ரொம்ப கஷ்டப்பட்டாங்க. ஐ மீன் ரொம்ப டென்ஷனா ஆனாங்க. எதுக்கு இந்த மாதிரி ஆயிடுச்சு, காலேஜ் என்ன பண்ணாங்க அப்படிலாம் கேட்டாங்க. ஆனா நான் எல்லாமே சொன்னேன். என்னோட ப்ராப்ளம் வந்து சால்வ் ஆயிடுச்சு. அதுக்கு வந்து தேங்க்யூ மேம், தேங்க்யூ சோ மச்.
தேங்க்யூ வெரி மச் கிருத்திகா. பட் ப்ராப்ளம் எப்படி சால்வ் ஆச்சுன்னு சொல்ல முடியுமா? அந்த அந்த இடத்த வந்து இன்னும் ஸ்பேஸ் அதிகமாயிடுச்சா?
உங்க ப்ராப்ளம் எப்படி சால்வ் ஆச்சுன்னு கேக்குறாங்க.
அதாவது என்ன வாட் சேஞ்ச்
எப்படி சால்வ் ஆச்சுன்னு கேக்குறாங்க.
ஃபர்ஸ்ட் வந்து நான் மேம் வைஸ் பிரின்சிபல் மேம் கிட்ட போய் சொல்லும் போது அவங்க எல்லா யூனியன் மேம் தான் கூப்பிட்டுட்டு சிசிடிவி கேமரா எல்லாம் செக் பண்ணிட்டு யாருன்னு பார்த்துட்டு அவங்க கிட்ட போய் அவங்க சாரி கேட்டாங்க. அதுக்கப்புறம் அந்த ஸ்டூடெண்ட் வந்து எங்க கிட்ட சாரி கேட்டாங்க. சோ அந்த சாரி எனக்கு வந்து ரொம்ப ரொம்ப திருப்தியா இருந்தது. சோ அது மாதிரி.
Okay, thank you for sharing your experience, Kritika. Thank you. Someone else? Thank you. And anyone else would like to go? வேற யாராச்சும் ஒருத்தர் ஷேர் பண்ண நினைக்கிறீங்களா? Any other type of problem that you kind of addressed or you came across? அது இன்னும் சால்வ் ஆயிட்டுன்னு கூட அவசியம் இல்லை, but how did you go about it? Will quickly possible let me know, or we'll move ahead because we are losing time. Hello ma'am.
Yeah, hello sir. This is Vijayashree. I thought I'll just share something which all of us as faculty faced a couple of years ago during this pandemic. The problem was how to take class from remote locations at home, because till then we have always been used to only taking face-to-face classes with a board, especially for mathematics classes or statistics or wherever we needed to write something on the board. It was a great challenge. And during that period, we tried to attend quite a few sessions on how we can use the digital modes. And what was recommended was you can use a tab, okay, the Wacom pen tablet or something. But then even that was not available online because everything was closed. So during that time, I found that quite a few videos surfaced in the WhatsApp, through WhatsApp and other medium, how teachers had adapted to this new environment. And one of my own department younger faculty, we older faculty had difficulty. We still couldn't do that. They were able to use the mobile phone, the camera of the mobile phone, and wrote everything on a notebook, showing it on the facing the camera on the notebook, and they were able to take class so comfortably. So that was very amazing experience to know that you could do even such a simple solution to a problem like this. Whereas I was thinking only if I have a Wacom pen tablet, I would be able to take class. While that is convenient, but this was something which people came out of the box thinking, and all teachers across, we started getting videos on YouTube and how to take class during that period when nothing was available. So that solution was a very simple solution, and very exactly almost just the way you take class in a physical class. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing your experience, ma'am. So different and interesting experiences, right? Or one from not really a student, but or a routine life la வந்து we have a problem, right? Or vehicle parking சரியா பண்ணாதனால somebody got affected. So in the இடத்துல we are trying to solve a problem for ourselves, right? Kritika solved a problem for herself. Whereas if you take Vijayashree ma'am, she was trying to solve a problem for the students, right? Students now do not have access to education, and of course faculties also didn't have an opportunity to teach students, right? So both point of view. Kritikaoட எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ்ல வந்து யாருக்கா அவங்க சால்வ் பண்றாங்கன்னு பார்த்தா அவங்க தனக்காக சால்வ் பண்ணிக்கிறாங்க. மேமோட example எடுத்துக்கிட்டோம்னா she is trying to solve it not only for herself but for her own students as well, right? So keep this in mind. We will go through it. Now if you take real civic problems like what, for example, Kritika சொன்ன மாதிரியான ப்ராப்ளம்ஸ் எடுத்துக்கிட்டோம்னு வச்சுக்கோங்களேன், டே டு டே ப்ராப்ளம்ஸ், இதை சால்வ் பண்றதுல வந்து there are different ways in which we can approach a problem. Okay, I'll tell you some examples. Let me share my screen once again. Some possible examples. I hope my screen is visible. So இதுல வந்து ஒரு 5 types இருக்குன்னு சொல்லலாம். இதெல்லாம் இது கிடையாது. What do I say? These are not scientifically proven methods. அந்த மாதிரி மீன் பண்ணல. But these are very simple ways in which people approach a problem. So one is a reporting rhino. ஒரு பிரச்சனை வந்துச்சுன்னா டைரக்டா போய் அது கன்சர்ன் பர்சன் கிட்ட ரிப்போர்ட் பண்ணிடுவாங்க. இப்போ ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் பைப்ல தண்ணி வரல, ரோட் சரியா இல்லைன்னா டைரக்டா ஒரு ஃபோன் எடுத்து கார்பரேஷன் கால் பண்ணிடுறது. ஸோ அந்த கன்சர்ன் பர்சனுக்கு காலேஜ்ல அப்படிங்கிற போது the classical example is the problem that Kritika mentioned, right? And how she approached about it. It was a reporting rhino, right? The second one is a campaign chameleon. Let's take the same problem. Now vehicle சரியா பார்க்கல, or let's take some other problem. Okay, hypothetical. உங்க காலேஜ்ல இருக்காது, பட் நான் படிச்ச காலேஜ்ல we had one situation. ஒரு தடவை வந்து the hostel mess food was not up to the mark. Okay, so நாங்க என்ன பண்ணோம், எல்லாரும் போய் மெஸ் வாசல்ல உட்காந்துட்டோம், ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ் எல்லாரும் சேர்ந்துட்டு, எங்களுக்கு நல்ல சாப்பாடு கொடுத்தாதான் எழுந்திரிச்சு போவோம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு. So that is like a campaign. We can also call it campaign chameleon. So we mobilize people, and then with people together, either with the people you can solve the problem, or you can do a campaign to create awareness on solving the problem, right? In our case, we didn't, நாங்கெல்லாம் சேர்ந்து போய் சமைச்சு ப்ராப்ளம் சால்வ் பண்ணல, பட் நாங்கெல்லாம் சேர்ந்து போய் உட்கார்ந்து அதை யார் செய்யறாங்களோ அவங்க அதுக்கு இம்பார்ட்டன்ஸ் கொடுக்கணும் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு we did a campaign, for example. Then the third is hands on keep hippo, right? ஒரு ப்ராப்ளம் வந்துச்சுன்னா இறங்கி அதுல அந்த பிரச்சனையை சால்வ் பண்ணிடுறது. ஒரு இப்போ காலேஜ்ல வந்து நீங்க போயிட்டு இருக்கும்போது, ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் லெட்ஸே ஒரு டேப் வந்து லீக் ஆயிட்டு இருக்கு, டேப்ல இருந்து தண்ணி லீக் ஆயிட்டு இருக்கு. அஃப்கோர்ஸ் some of us might ignore it, but let's say you are concerned about it. So how would you address it? All these methods can be employed. அந்த ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் நீங்க போய் ரிப்போர்ட் பண்ணலாம், அவங்க ஃபர்ஸ்ட் சொன்ன எக்ஸாம்பிள் மாதிரி, ரைட்? ஆர் what can you do? You can get people, go to the principal's room and say that, ma'am, இவ்வளோ தண்ணி வேஸ்ட் ஆகுது, இதனால இவ்வளோ இதாகு, ஸோ சரி பண்ணணும் அப்படின்னு சொல்லி you can take people along and say that, or just put a drop box, suggestion boxல விட்டுட்டு நீங்க விட்டுடலாம். Or the third thing, if you are a hands-on hippo, what you can do, you can go and fix the solution yourself, right? And then just inform the college that there was this problem and this is a small step I took to address the problem. Or நீங்க சொன்னீங்களா சில பேர் பிளாக் செயின் டெக்னாலஜிலாம் அடுத்த ஸ்கில்ஸ் வரப்போகுதுன்னு சொன்னீங்களா. ஸோ இஃப் யூ ஆர் அ வெரி டெக்கி யூ கேன் யூஸ் டெக்னாலஜி டு சால்வ் அ ப்ராப்ளம். ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் நெக்ஸ்ட் டைம் வந்து பைப் லீக்கேஜ் இருந்துச்சுன்னா யூ கேன் பில்ட் அ சென்சர் அரௌண்ட் இட் டு அலர்ட் பீப்புள் ஸோ தட் த கன்சர்ன் பர்சன் இமீடியட்லி நோஸ். அண்ட் மேபி ரைட், இப்போ நம்ம வீட்ல எல்லாம் மோட்டர் வந்து ஸ்டாப் ஆகிறதுக்கு நவ் தெர் ஆர் சென்சர்ஸ், ரைட்? Once it reaches a certain level in the tank, the motor will automatically stop. That's a very simple example of how technology can be used to solve a problem, to avoid water wastage, right? The last one is action ant. Okay, action ant ko hands-on hippo major difference kadayadu. But action ant will use combination of methods. For example, let's say same problem eduthukom in the pipe leaking problem, right? அவங்க வந்து ஒரு they write a report around it, post it on the college internal or external social media platform, காலேஜோட ஃபேஸ்புக் பேஜ்லயோ இல்ல காலேஜ்ல let's say you're having an internal radio or something, அங்க போய் you can communicate it and then you can also use some technology and gather people to solve it. So action antங்கிறது இந்த first 4ல இருக்கிற combination 1 or 2 mix பண்ணி நம்ம ஒரு ப்ராப்ளமை சால்வ் பண்ணலாம். So let's see what type of problem solvers we have in this room. Okay, so once again, just pick up your mobile. We'll do this faster than how we did last time. Go to menti.com and the code would be, this time I think it would be, just give me half a minute. நீங்க என்ன மாதிரி problem solver அப்படின்னு தெரிஞ்சுக்கலாம். Then we will go into design thinking. Just give me one moment, please. Okay, I'm presenting my screen. Let's see what kind of problem solvers we have in this room. Reporting Rhino is someone who goes and reports the problem to the concerned people. Campaign Chameleon will mobilize people and try to do a campaign to solve it. Hands-on Hippo, you know. Techno Tiger will like use the technology to solve any problem. And Action Ant would use a combination of the methods. So please go to menti.com and enter the code that you see on the screen. One 17976302. That's the code. We've got 5 responses. We'll give another 30 seconds maximum for more responses. So reporting Rhino is leading. ஒருவேளை கிருத்திகா ஸ்டோரி கேட்டு நிறைய பேர் இன்ஸ்பயர் ஆயிட்டீங்களான்னு தெரியல. கிருத்திகா, சாரி உங்க நேம் மல்டிபிள் டைம்ஸ் கோட் பண்றேன், தப்பா எடுத்துக்காதீங்க. ஏன்னா உங்க பேர் மட்டும் தான் எனக்கு தெரியும் அந்த குரூப்ல. Okay. Can we have some more responses quickly? Last 10 seconds and then we'll move on. So first question, we had 42 responses. I hope all of you had breakfast. Okay, we'll move on in the interest of time. Thanks to all those who responded. So I think the popular method is reporting rhinos. We like to report it and maybe follow up to the right concerned people to solve it. Yes. And there is one campaigner, 2 hands-on hippos. And many of you said, I'm an action ant, I'll use more than one method to solve the problems. Interesting. So thanks to all those who have responded. Let's move on. So far we spoke of, we looked at, okay, why problem solving is an important skill and how we solve problems, right? And it could be, as we said, the problem could exist anywhere. Now, we are faced with problem situations every day, right? So, as I said, problem is not something which is a very, very complex situation. Like what ma'am said, right? They are not able to meet students, but how do we teach them, right? Now that's a complex problem, but there is a simpler problem on the other side, which we heard from the previous person, right? In terms of the problem or a reason on the ரொம்ப simple ஒருத்தர் vehicle சரியான இடத்துல அப்படிங்கிறதா இருக்கும் and அந்த பர்சன் அப்பாலஜைஸ் பண்ணாங்கிறத தாண்டி ப்ராபப்ளி நெக்ஸ்ட் டைம் அவங்க வந்து அந்த மிஸ்டேக்கை திரும்ப ரிப்பீட் பண்ணாம இருக்கணும் இல்லைங்களா? தட் இஸ் வெரி இம்பார்ட்டன்ட். அண்ட் அந்த ரூட் காஸ் சின்னது, பட் she got injured, maybe the impact could have been much more, right? So all of us are faced with situations everyday life which we can call problems. It could be very simple to complex. So design thinking, you might have heard about this term. What comes to your mind when we say the word design thinking? There is a clue on the screen itself, a very short definition. If we can hear from some participants, what do you think is design thinking? Quickly, one-liners. Maybe we will try to do some interaction once or twice in this session so that I also get to understand or know the people in the session. So design thinking na enna varum apdi nenikreenga. Some of you might have heard, some of you might have attended sessions, I don't know, or even practiced, which is very good. Ma'am, I'm so sorry if this is making it very difficult. Hello, ma'am. In case interaction is quite difficult, we'll move on, ma'am. Yeah, one is, okay, solving problems innovatively. Very, very interesting. Any other responses?
Focus on finding solutions rather than talking about the problem itself, focusing on the problem itself.
Wonderful. So moving from a problem to a solution. Very good. And someone said solving problems innovatively. I agree. Any other thoughts around design thinking? What do you think is design thinking?
Different ways of thinking in solving a particular problem.
Okay.
Different types of arriving at different types of solutions.
Absolutely. Same problem can have multiple solutions. Absolutely. Yeah, that is part of design thinking. I agree. Any other quick thoughts before we move on? Okay, we'll move on maybe in the interest of time. So design thinking ko mata problem solving methods ko enna difference? Design thinking, there are only two differences. Design thinking is very, very simple first. Okay, and very practical. But the most important element of design thinking is we should never lose sight of whom we are solving the problem for. That is very important. So it is a very human-centric way of creative problem solving. Entire problem solving exercise, we will always keep the human, the person for whom we are solving the problem. So first, that is very important. Human-centric or a user-centric way of solving the problem. So idukum for mattadukku enna vyathyasam appadina, we will spend much more time to first understand the person for whom we are solving the problem for. Let's take the example of the online class method that ma'am spoke about, right? Now, in the online class evolve ஆகும்போது நிறைய மெத்தட்ஸ் நமக்கு வந்துச்சு இல்லைங்களா? எதுக்காக நிறைய மெத்தட்ஸ் வந்துச்சுன்னு யோசிச்சு பாருங்களேன். So video might be for somebody who can't attend the online class regularly, right? Because of practical issues. So அவங்களுக்கு அவங்க அவைலபிளா இருக்கிற டயத்துல அந்த லேர்னிங் போய் ரீச் ஆகிறதுக்காக வீடியோ வாஸ் a method. Somebody who can attend the online class, we had a method like this, right? And for somebody who wants to practice, there were online tools that came into place, right, to do this. So அப்ப பார்க்கும்போது வெவ்வேறு solutions sometimes for the different types of users were there. ஒரு ஸ்டூடெண்ட்டுக்கு வந்து இன்டர்நெட் இருந்துச்சு அப்படின்னா, இன்டர்நெட் ரெகுலரா இல்லை அப்படின்னா வீடியோ, இன்டர்நெட்டே இல்லை அப்படின்னா என்ன பண்ணலாம், கால் பண்ணி அல்லது ஆடியோ பைட்ஸ் அனுப்பி அவங்களுக்கு வந்து அந்த லேர்னிங்கை எடுத்துட்டு போய் சேர்க்கலாம். இல்ல எல்லாம் இன்டர்நெட் நல்லா இருக்குன்னா ஆன்லைன் கிளாஸ் அட்டென்ட் பண்ண சொல்லலாம். ஸோ டிபெண்டிங் ஆன் த யூசர்ஸ், வாட் த யூசர் கேன் டூ, வாட் த யூசர் லைக்ஸ் டு டூ, அதை பேஸ் பண்ணி நிறைய விஷயங்கள் கொண்டுட்டு வந்தாங்க இல்லைங்களா? இப்போ செஷன் ரொம்ப ஒன் வே இருக்கக்கூடாது அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு, இப்போ ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் டூயிங் த செஷன் இட் செல்ஃப் இஸ் அ ப்ராப்ளம் சால்விங் ஃபார் மீ, ரைட்? I do not know how effective it will be at the end of 12:15. I'm not even seeing my audience. I'm not hearing them. And this is very different from an in-person session and a virtual session. இது ஒரு மாதிரி அவியல் மாதிரி மிக்ஸ் பண்ணி பண்றோம் இல்லைங்களா? இந்த செஷனை எப்படி எஃபெக்டிவா பண்றதுங்கிறதுமே ஒரு ப்ராப்ளம் சால்விங் தான். பட் இங்க who is the user? If you take this session as an example, the user is the audience, right? So we want to convey something useful to the audience and make them feel that I'm engaged and I'm taking something of value to me out of this session, right? That's the problem that, for example, if I am trying to solve here. But how do we do this in such a way that the audience or the user, the person for whom we are doing this is in the focus? அதனால டிபிக்கலா நீங்க ஒரு ப்ராப்ளம் சால்விங் மெத்தட் அப்படின்னா ஃபர்ஸ்ட் என்ன பண்ணுவோம், we will look at the problem and then we will start coming up with solutions for the problem, right? But design thinking அதுக்கு முன்னாடி ஒரு முக்கியமான ஸ்டெப் இருக்கு, and that differentiates design thinking. So design thinking is a methodology to solve problems which we can apply in any phase of any facet of our life. 5 simple steps are there. That's what we are going to see. So ma'am, I have a quick question. See, I initially thought that there are 5 steps. So I will explain each step maybe for 5 minutes. And then can the audience or the participants pair up as in the person sitting next to them, I will tell the problem statement. Can they apply each of these steps for 5 minutes? I thought that might be very useful for them to look at it. But since I'm not able to see the audience, I do not know, some kind of moderation will be required on the venue, because hearing from your side itself, it's taking some time for me. So should I talk about all the 5 steps and then do this, or it will be more effective if we go step by step? People do something around for 3 to 4 minutes, the person sitting next to them, and then come back. Can we do that, ma'am? Or should this speak about covering all the steps?
Yes, sir, we can do it, sir.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Let's try that. So audience, we need your cooperation. Of course, I will not know if you're cooperating or not. the people there only will know. But let's try this out. Okay, there are
Okay,
5
sir.
simple steps.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
we'll do it, sir. Yes, sir. We'll do it, sir.
Okay, great. Thank you for the spirit. So the first step is very simple. And do you know who said this quote? I'm just reading the quote for you. Some people say, give the customers what they want, but that's not my approach. Our job is to figure out what they are going to want even before they do. If Henry Ford once said that if I had to ask my customers what they wanted, they would have told me a faster horse. People sometimes do not know what they want until you show it to them. Any guesses who said this quote? One of the most innovative, one of the business leaders, very famous for his innovation. One more clue is, of course, he's no more now, but he's a very innovative business leader. A lot of very innovative products he has brought to us. Many of you might be using the products. Any guesses on who said this?
I was a student with the answer.
Pardon me?
Steve Jobs, sir.
Absolutely, you're spot on. So this was said by Steve Jobs. We'll stay on this for about a minute to kind of delve on what exactly it means, right? So does it mean you should not listen to your user? So if you're solving a problem for yourself or for your friend, let's say, okay, or for a student, a faculty solving it for a student, or you're trying to do something for your friend or family member, does it mean you should not listen to them? Does it mean you should not listen to the person? See, if you look at Henry Ford, who was the person who came up with the first car 100 years back, right? கார் வரதுக்கு முன்னாடி என்ன இருந்துச்சு? குதிரை வண்டி இருந்துச்சு. கார் எதனால யூஸ்ஃபுல்லா இருந்துச்சு அப்படின்னா ரொம்ப சிம்பிள், ரைட்? குதிரை வண்டியோட கார் ஃபாஸ்டா போக ஆரம்பிச்சது பிகாஸ் இட் வாஸ் மெக்கனைஸ்ட். ஸோ த பாயிண்ட் ஆஃப் ஹென்ரி ஃபோர்ட் இஸ், இஃப் யூ ஆர் கோயிங் டு ஆஸ்க் பீப்புள் வாட் யூ வாண்ட், ரைட்? அவர் கார் கண்டுபிடிக்கிறதுக்கு முன்னாடி கார்னு ஒரு விஷயமே அப்ப இல்லை. அப்ப அவரோட யூசர்ஸ் யாரு? குதிரை வண்டி யூஸ் பண்றவங்க. அவங்கள்ட்ட போய் கேட்டுதான் என்ன சொல்லியிருப்பாங்க? இன்னும் வேகமா போற குதிரை தான் வேணும் அப்படின்னு தான் சொல்லியிருப்பாங்க. கார் வேணும்னு சொல்லியிருக்க மாட்டாங்க, பிகாஸ் அவங்க கார்னா என்னன்னு அவங்களுக்கு தெரியாது. அப்போ அவங்க கிட்ட கேட்க கூடாதுங்கிறது அர்த்தம் கிடையாது. நம்ம அதை கிளியரா புரிஞ்சுக்கணும். பட் அவங்க கிட்ட கேட்டீங்கன்னா they will say a faster horse. But the key point here is you should not stop with asking them what you want. You should try to understand the need behind the want. So for example, the faculties might know this better, right? So classroom management பத்தி பேசும்போது one thing we say, right? If students are distracted, it is a signal that maybe we have to make some changes, right? It doesn't mean the need of the student probably is something else, and that's why the student is distracted, for example, right? If we try to say that the student is distracted because the student has a problem, then we might not be able to solve that problem, right? The Henry Ford example kuda andha mari dhaan. So Henry Ford went beyond the ask from the user. So user ku enna venum actually? The need was very simple. I want to go from place A to place B faster, right? If it is taking me 1 hour to travel 10 kilometers today in a horse, I want to go in half an hour. I want to reduce my travel time, or I want to go to a place faster. So if you dig deep, ஏன் நீங்க வந்து ஃபாஸ்டா போகணும், இல்லை ஏன் நீங்க வந்து டிராவல் டைம் கம்மி பண்ணணும்னு கேக்குறீங்கன்னு வச்சுக்கோங்க. ஹென்ரி ஃபோர்ட் கூட வேணா இன்னைக்கு நம்ம சிச்சுவேஷன் எடுத்துக்கலாம். இப்ப சென்னையில வந்து இப்ப மெட்ரோ ட்ரெயின் இருக்கு இல்லைங்களா? நம்ம வந்து இப்போ ஒரு ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் மீனம்பாக்கம், நம்ம காலேஜ் பக்கத்துல இருக்கிற ஸ்டேஷன் மீனம்பாக்கம் எடுத்துக்கிட்டோம்னா, அங்க இருந்து இஃப் யூ வாண்ட் டு கோ டு கோயம்பேடு, மெட்ரோ வரதுக்கு முன்னாடி எவ்வளவு டைம் ஆயிருக்கும், அப்புறம் வந்ததுக்கப்புறம் எவ்வளவு டைம் கம்மியாயிடுச்சு நீங்க பாருங்க, ரைட்? த ஹோல் பாயிண்ட் இஸ், மெட்ரோங்கிற விஷயம் நமக்கு தெரியாது அப்படின்னா நம்ம என்ன கேட்டிருப்போம்? ஃபிளைஓவர் வேணும், இல்ல பஸ் ஃபாஸ்டா போகணும், தனியா ட்ராக் போடுங்க இப்படின்லாம் கேட்டிருப்போம். ஏன்னா நமக்கு மெட்ரோங்கிற விஷயம் நம்ம பார்த்தது இல்லை அப்படிங்கிற போது. பிகாஸ் தட்ஸ் பட் இஃப் பீப்புள் ஆர் ஜஸ்ட் பில்டிங் ஃபிளைஓவர்ஸ், நான் மீனம்பாக்கத்துல இருந்து கோயம்பேடுக்கு டைரக்டா ஒரு ஃபிளைஓவர் கட்டுறேன்னு கட்டியிருந்தாங்கன்னா, how much time and resources would have been invested in it, right? And how meaningful it is, right? After some time, if the traffic further increases, then adukku mela innor flyover katta mudiyuma? The solution had to be something like, can people who are going in car or something else, can they go in a metro, right? Can more people move towards public transport so that cars are taken off the road? People are addressing traffic issue is also getting addressed, right? So the key point is when we are solving a problem, as I said, the person for whom we are solving the problem is the most important person. We should never lose sight. So Steve Jobs once in the first one, the Apple's first product was, of course, a personal computer and then a laptop. There was a product some of you might or might not know. It was called an iPod, IPOD, right? Because it's a very small version. It was looking like a small phone. It used to look like. அதுல வந்து ரொம்ப ஸ்மால் வெர்ஷன்ஸ் வந்துச்சு. இந்த இவ்வளவு சைஸ் இருக்கிற மாதிரி ஒரு இந்த ஃபிங்கர்ல பாதிதான் இருக்கும். நானோ பாட் அப்படின்லாம் வந்துச்சு. ஸோ அதை டிசைன் பண்ணும்போது ஸ்டீவ் ஜாப்ஸ் வந்து என்ன பண்ணிட்டு இருந்தாங்க அப்படின்னா, அந்த டீம் டிசைன் பண்ணிட்டு இருந்தாங்க. அந்த ஐபாட் எடுத்து பார்த்தாரு டிசைன் ஸ்டேஜ்ல இருந்து. அது ஒரு மீன் தொட்டிக்குள்ள போட்டாரு. அண்ட் தென் ஏர் பபிள்ஸ் வேர் கம்மிங் அவுட் ஆஃப் தட் fish pond, which means, so typically if air bubbles come in, it means air is there, correct? He said it can be still made smaller, thinner than this, because there is air bubble, there is still space, empty space. And Steve Jobs' point was 5,000 songs in your pocket. That's how we promoted the iPod. And he said, this is not in my pocket. In the main pocket kulla jeans pant la or chinna pocket irukum. அந்த பாக்கெட் குள்ள போறதுக்கு தான் இந்த ஐபாட் அப்படின்னு சொன்னாரு. ஸோ ஜஸ்ட் திங்க் ஹவு மச் ஹி ஹஸ் தாட் அபவுட் த யூசர், ரைட்? இந்த யூசருக்கு பாட்டு கேட்கணுங்கிறது மட்டும் இல்ல, அந்த பாட்டை கேட்கறது எவ்வளவு கன்வீனியன்ட்டா அவங்க எப்படி கேட்பாங்கன்னு யோசிச்சு அந்த ப்ராடக்ட் டிசைன் பண்றாங்க. ஸோ ஃபர்ஸ்ட் பார்ட் இஸ் யூ வில் கீப் த யூசர் அட் த சென்டர் ஆஃப் இட் அண்ட் ட்ரை டு அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட் தேர் நீட், நாட் தேர் ரிக்வயர்மெண்ட். யூ ஹேவ் டு கோ பியாண்ட் த ரிக்வயர்மெண்ட். அந்த ரிக்வயர்மெண்ட் தாண்டி அவங்களோட நீட் என்ன, எதுக்காக அந்த ரிக்வயர்மெண்ட் கேட்கறாங்க. ஸோ that is what we call as empathize, right? All of us might be familiar with this term empathy. We say putting ourselves in somebody else's shoes, right? Understanding their needs. So empathy is all about listening and understanding their need, not ask. So they might say, I need this, I want this, people might say, but you should ask why they want it. Ask more wise. And the more wise we know, we ask, we will know what is the actual need the person has, and if we address that need, then the problem might has we have a better chance of addressing the solution. So empathy, this is a definition I really like, right? It is seeing with the eyes of another, listening to the ears of another, and feeling with the heart of another. So for whoever you are trying to help, we say putting yourselves in somebody else's shoes, empathy patti solluvodhu. But this is even better way of looking at it, right? What it means to put us in somebody else's shoes, right? அவங்க பாக்குற மாதிரி நம்ம பார்க்க முடியுமா, அவங்க கேட்கிற மாதிரி கேட்க முடியுமா? For example, now there are a lot of devices for people who have low vision or visual impairment, right? சில பேருக்கு லோ விஷன் இருக்கும், அவங்களுக்கு வந்து ஃபாண்ட் பேசாதான் தெரியும். அப்போ போன் மேக்ஸிமைஸ் பண்ணி பண்றாங்க. அதுவும் இல்ல எனக்கு பார்க்கவே முடியல அப்படின்னு இருக்கிறவங்களுக்கு என்ன செய்யறாங்க, there is an audio, right? Now speech to text converter is there. So ultimately, because people empathize with such people, they are able to come up with these kind of solutions and feeling with the heart of another. And this is a very interesting example of how not to empathize. I'll show you I'll show you one example a little later after a few minutes of how not to empathize. பட் எம்பத்திக்கு என்ன தேவை அப்படின்னா, ஒரே ஒரு விஷயம் தான் நம்ம செய்யணும். we should ask many questions to the user. கேட்டுட்டே இருக்கணும். என்ன மாதிரி questions? Not yes or no questions, but open-ended questions. Open-ended questions na enna, avanga வந்து they will give a descriptive answer to it. For example, have you thought of something like this, right? If somebody needs a faster way to commute from college to home, sorry, have you thought of something like, have you thought of traveling in less than half of its time, right? How do you feel about spending 1 hour on travel in a public transport, right? For example, it might be tiring, it might be exhausting, right? It might be sweating, and the moment you enter work or college with that kind of thing, it will be very difficult for you to not be in your full energy, right? So when you understand the needs of people, if you take the example of solving a commute problem for people, right? And what do you think causes it? That's a reflective question. And so how do you feel about this? You're trying to get into the emotion of the person. What emotions they have that lead to their want, right? And what do you think causes it? So அவங்களை யோசிக்க வைக்கிறோம். So if they are saying that I have a problem like this, okay, for example, they are saying I'm taking 1 hour. Okay, why does it cause? What causes it? They might say because I'm staying far off from the college, or my transport commute method is very slow, right? Or I'm taking a public transport. I'm not coming in a bike. I'm not able to drive a bike or buy a bike or whatever, right? So these are reflective questions. What causes the situation? And can you describe how? These are some very good questions to understand the user better. Okay, and what are the causes? What are the causes? What do you think? More or less similar, reflective, analytical, are trying to understand the user better. And the most important point is, end of it, you should clarify if you understood it better, right? If you understood the need better. So I think summarizing is very important. அவங்க ஒரு பாயிண்ட் ஆஃப் வியூல சொல்லுவாங்க, பட் நம்ம அதே மாதிரி தான் புரிஞ்சுட்டு இருக்குமா அப்படின்னு கேட்கறதுக்கு the most important thing is clarify with the user that if the way I understood is what the user is that the same way the user is looking at the problem. So these are all open-ended questions which will have descriptive answers. This will not have yes or no answers. And this is the first and most important step. So ask a lot of whys, ask a lot of questions. And that is the first step in designing. The second step is something which we call define. But before we get into define, because many times we directly define the problem, or we say we fix the problem, this is what the problem is, and then we get into solving it. Many times because we don't understand the problem well enough, that's where many of the problems don't get solved. Though we have a lot of solutions, maybe the focus of design thinking or empathy is to first understand the real problem. So let's take few minutes. Now I'm going to give you a scenario, and all of you will have about 3 plus 3 minutes. We can give about 6 minutes exactly. And the person who is sitting next to you, right, either on your right hand side, preferably the person who is sitting to your right, maybe if you kind of pair up with the person who is sitting next to you, and you are going to design a wallet, a purse, a wallet, or a sling bag, one of this. You are to design. So you are, let's say you are a designer, or you are let's say a designer or a shopkeeper or a trader. நீங்க வச்சுக்கலாம். உங்க பக்கத்துல இருக்கவங்க உங்க கஸ்டமர். அவங்களுக்கு நீங்க ஒரு வேலட் அல்லது ஒரு பர்ஸ் அவங்களுக்கு நீங்க டிசைன் பண்ண போறீங்க. அவங்களோட நீடுக்கு தகுந்த மாதிரி, மார்க்கெட்ல இருக்கிறது கிடையாது, இது அவங்களுக்கு தேவையான மாதிரி நீங்க புதுசா ஒன்று டிசைன் பண்ணி தர போறீங்க. ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஸ்டெப் இஸ் யூ ஹேவ் டு அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட் வாட் தே வாண்ட், ரைட்? அவங்களுக்கு வேலட் அவங்களுக்கு ஏன் வேணும், வேலட்ல அவங்களுக்கு என்ன யூஸ் இருக்கு, வேலட் இருந்தா என்ன. ஸோ இந்த ஸ்கிரீன்ல இருக்கிற கொஸ்டின்ஸ் நீங்க யூஸ் பண்ணிக்கலாம். ரெஃபரன்ஸ் இதே கொஸ்டின் கேட்கணும்னு சொல்ல, டைரக்டா உடனே ஹேவ் யூ தாட் ஆஃப் அ வேலட், ஓகே ஹவு டு யூ ஃபீல் அபவுட் ஹேவிங் அ வேலட் அப்படி கேட்க ஆரம்பிச்சிடாதீங்க. This is just leading questions to help you understand. But now you are going to design something for your customer who is the person sitting next to you. So first 3 minutes, the person sitting on the left will ask questions. The second 3 minutes, person sitting on the right will ask questions. So each of you will swap after 3 minutes as customers. Okay, you have to note it down. Maybe a pen, paper, mobile phone, something, right? If you have a paper and pen, that's best. If you don't have, maybe use your notes in your mobile phone and start taking notes. But key point is listen to the user, okay? And also listen to how they feel when they say it. And look at the needs and look at the unmet needs. So அவங்களோட requirement மட்டும் கேட்காதீங்க. அவங்க requirement உங்களுக்கு ஏற்கனவே சொல்லிட்டாங்க, எனக்கு ஒரு பர்ஸ் வேணும் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு. ஸோ நீங்க நார்மலா இருக்கிற பர்ஸ் கூட பண்ணி கொடுத்துடலாம், கடையில வாங்கி கொடுத்துடலாம். But you want to really make it special for them. Let's say the person sitting next to you is your friend and assume பண்ணிக்கலாம். For many of you it might be the case. For others, let's assume, okay. உங்க ஃப்ரெண்டுக்கு நீங்க இந்த வேலட்டை ஒரு கிஃப்டா கொடுக்க போறீங்க. அதுக்கு நீங்க ஒரு கஸ்டமைஸ்டா கொடுக்கணும்னு நினைக்கிறீங்க, அவங்களுக்கு பிடிச்ச மாதிரி. So you're going to design that. Okay, it's 11:31 in my mobile. We'll take exactly 3 minutes. The person sitting on the left can ask questions, the person sitting on the right. We'll take 3 minutes And ma'am, ஏதாவது inputs இருந்துச்சுன்னா சொல்லுங்க. In case because I'm not able to moderate this or kind of see what is happening in the room. So if you have any inputs, please do let me know. After 3 minutes, you will have to swap. I'll let you know. Okay. First, start asking questions and note down what you think. You should only ask questions. Don't give answers. Don't give solutions to the person. Okay. அப்ப இந்த மாதிரி பர்ஸ் வேணுமா, அந்த மாதிரி பர்ஸ் வேணுமா, அந்த மாதிரி don't get into solution. Ask what they want. How will it help them in some way? Okay. Time starts now. You are only going to understand the needs of the person, and you are going to design a valid customized for them. Okay. So time starts now. I'll give exactly 3 minutes. Talk to the person, understand their needs. After 3 minutes, we'll swap. So ma'am, if there is any difficulty or any challenge, please do let me know. I'll stay muted so that I'm not distracting you. I'm assuming there is a lot of noise in the room now. People start talking to each other. But focus on the person sitting next to you. I'll stay muted for a couple of minutes. Last 1 minute, and then we'll swap roles. Ask questions and note down the answers. Okay, 3 minutes up. Please swap roles now. The question கேட்டவங்க answer பண்ணணும், answer பண்ணவங்க question கேட்கணும். Same set of same objective. You want to understand the other person's needs so that you're trying to design a wallet or a sling bag for them. And ma'am, maybe after 3 minutes, I would like to hear from 1 or 2 people quickly in terms of what questions they asked and what kind of responses they got. Just 1 or 2 people. So if you want to do some preparation before that, moving the system or all, I'm just giving a heads up, ma'am. Any 1 or 2 people can just quickly share their experience after 3 minutes. Okay. But you can swap. I hope you've already swapped your roles, and the other person can now ask questions, and then you can note down their responses. If possible, ma'am, please send some photos from this session just to see how are the audience interacting, for me to just visualize what is happening there. If possible, send some photos, or if one of the laptop cameras can be switched on facing the audience on mute, that would be great, if possible. So 1 minute or 2 more minutes to go. Ask quick questions, try to note down the responses and what kind of inputs you have. Thank you for the photos. Nice to see the interaction happening. The last page la irukka kuda ellarum interact பண்றீங்கன்னு நினைக்கிறேன். Please do. 1 minute to go. Okay. In fact, இது in-person இருந்திருந்தா அது ஒரு 3 hours full workshop பண்ண முடியும், and it will be very, very insightful. But we have a physical limitation and a time limitation. So still trying to do some justice for you to experience design thinking, not just learn it, but experience it. Okay. Okay. So time up. Ma'am, if we can hear from 1 or 2 people and the experience எப்படி இருந்துச்சு, என்ன மாதிரி questions, என்ன மாதிரி understand பண்ணாங்க user கிட்ட இருந்து. Quickly, any 1 or 2 people, very quickly. We'll not wait for a lot of time to hear responses. Very, very quickly, please. Someone can come to the stage or speak or whatever, right? Quickly do it. No 4 steps irukku. No, நம்ம step 1 la dhaan irukom. So another half an hour we have to finish off the next 4 steps. We also have to do some activity around it. So please be a little quick.
Hello, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, I did this activity along with Vijayashri ma'am, and I asked 6 questions, and ma'am in return asked me 6 questions, and I would give the answer which ma'am has given. The first one is I was asking her the type of sling bag she wants. She wants a sling bag, and she should be free. I mean, because she wants sling bag, because she wants to be very free. She doesn't want to carry the purse, so she has preferred sling bag. And she wants to have this lightweight, waterproof, and she wants a lot of partition in that so that the material inside would not be, damaged. And she wants to have this dark color, and a sling should be very strong so that she could, carry it in a very free manner. So when she was really describing, I started to visualize the bag which I want to design for my friend Vijayashri ma'am. So that's nice. That's a rejuvenating activity which started to make me to explore a lot of things. Thank you, sir. This is what I really felt about this.
This is wonderful, ma'am. I think I know the time was very limited, but thank you for the active participation. Maybe can we also hear from someone else? Maybe one of the students, if possible, after the faculty speaks. Solunga, ma'am.
Good morning, sir. So as a very dutiful student, I would like to go by all your questions you have framed regarding explorative, affective, reflective and all. So you kindly correct us, sir, if we are wrong. And I had asked my friend, Dr. Victoria, regarding whether her sling has to be utility oriented or showy and flashy. She said utility. I asked her whether she wants it long or short, and she said short. I asked whether she wanted it or small, and she said big. And regarding the affective questions, I had asked her how she feels about it, and she had replied that she wanted a comfortable, a multi-purpose, and a utility-oriented sling. And regarding her reflective ideas, she said it has to be very strong. And for probing, she said she once again reiterated that it has to have a repeated reusage. And regarding the analytical stuff, she said it is the extent of durability that she wanted. And finally, she wanted a great wallet with minimum flaws. And that was her clarification she had given me. So I
Fantastic.
do not know whether I'm right or wrong.
No, I think there are no right questions.
Correct
Sir.
question.
In questions, there are no right questions, right? The key point is, are we asking enough questions? That's the only thing that matters. And are we
Right.
understanding our user well enough? Right? That's what leads to a successful product or a solution. Can we also listen to any one student quickly, ma'am? I think these are wonderful responses and great questions. If we can quickly go to the last or the second row from the last, that's my favorite row because that's where I always sit. Quickly, just நீங்க என்ன கேள்வி கேட்டீங்க, என்ன மாதிரி என்ன அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட் பண்ணிக்கிட்டீங்க இந்த எக்ஸசைஸ் மூலமா அவங்க கிட்ட இருந்து, உங்க யூசர் பத்தி என்ன புரிஞ்சுக்கிட்டீங்க அப்படின்னு நான் தெரிஞ்சுக்கணும், அவ்வளவுதான். Who's the person sitting next to you? நான் அங்க இருந்திருந்தேன்னா மைக்கு கொண்டு வந்து நீட்டிருப்பேன். குயிக்கா பண்ணுங்க. Yeah, please share. I think it's just a small exercise, right? And there are no right or wrong answers in this. That's the thing. நீங்க என்ன கேட்டீங்க, அவங்க என்ன புரிஞ்சுக்கிட்டீங்க உங்க யூசர் பத்தியும் தெரிஞ்சுக்கணும், அவ்வளவுதான். குவிக்லி. So ma'am share பண்ண மாதிரி. அடுத்த 4 steps தெரிஞ்சுக்கணும்னு நீங்க கொஞ்சம் ஃபாஸ்டா ஆன்சர் பண்ணணும். இல்லைன்னா 2-3 ஸ்டெப்ல நம்ம நிறுத்த வேண்டியிருக்கும் இன்னைக்கு.
அங்க பேசுறாங்க.
இல்ல இப்ப எனக்கு ஒரு என்ன கேள்வி ஓடிட்டு இருக்குன்னா, நீங்க நிஜமாவே இந்த டிசைன் திங்கிங் வேலட் பத்தி தான் பேசுனீங்களா, இல்ல இன்னைக்கு ஓடிடில என்ன படம் ரிலீஸ் ஆகுதுன்னு பேசிட்டு இருந்தீங்களான்னு தெரியல.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, please go ahead.
A friend that whether she likes a sling bag or a purse.
I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yes, and she answered she need a purse in which and then I asked her what color do you prefer, and she said that she prefer dark colors, and then I asked her like what do you prefer the most.
I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Then she said that she needs a different partitions, so in which she can keep money in which, and she need a mini pocket in which she puts coins, and so that it won't fall. That's all.
Very good. May I know your name, please?
So Sandhya.
Can we give a round of applause to Sandhya? I think the first person who has spoken after a lot of effort from all the faculties. Thank you, Sandhya. Round of applause to you. And very interesting answers, right, from all the 3 people who spoke up, and very interesting questions as well. So as I told ma'am, there are no right or wrong questions, right? The whole objective is you are trying to do something for your friend, and how do we do this in such a way that they like it really well, they love this, right? You want to do something which they love, so you need to understand them really well, and that's the whole objective, right? Okay, so we want to design something. Sorry, I'm not able to hear you. Sorry, ma'am. Your line is muted. Ma'am, I'm not able to hear. Ma'am, Bhavna SU login, I'm not able to hear. Can you please unmute, ma'am? Okay, great.
From Applicable Mathematics, PG.
Sure.
Good morning, sir. I'm Trisha from PG Applicable Mathematics, sir. So now I'm going to present my friend a gift, sir. So I'm going to present her a purse. So my first question to her will be, what type of purse do you need? That is a purse in which we can keep a mobile phone, or a purse in which just money, a short purse. That would be my first question, sir.
So I can like which type, the size of the phone I will ask, sir, so that I can make it
Sure.
so that's
Okay.
comfortable to her. So
Okay.
My next question would be, would you want a
நீங்க
purse
டைரக்டா
which has
கேளுங்க.
money?
எனக்கு நீங்க எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ண வேண்டாம். டைரக்டா கேளுங்க. என்ன கேட்டீங்களோ you just repeat it. We'll see.
So
Make it a conversation. Just
next
make it a
thing,
conversation.
do
Ask
you
more
want a
wise.
purse which has many credit card holders, or just only cash?
yeah, definitely I need credit card holders because I may be using like Aadhaar cards, voter IDs for like such kind of things. So it will be very useful to me.
Okay, உனக்கு லெதர் வேணுமா இல்லனா வந்து நார்மலா இருக்கிறது வேணுமா?
So for regular use, the normal purse is okay for me.
ஓகே, கலர் வந்து பேஸ்டல் கலர்ஸ் வேணுமா இல்லனா வந்து இந்த டார்க் கலர்ஸ் ஓகே?
I prefer pastel colors for using it.
ஓகே, உங்க பர்த்டே இன்னைக்கு வீட்டுக்கு அனுப்பிட்டுறேன்.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Wonderful. So
Thank you, sir.
thank you very much. Trisha, can I ask you some questions on it? Same ballot pati. Can I ask you some questions? Okay. Let's say you are my customer now. I'm going to ask you same questions like how your friend asked. Some more questions, okay? And you can just continue to answer it. இப்போ நீங்க கரண்டா வந்து உங்ககிட்ட பர்ஸ் இருக்கா? உங்ககிட்ட ஒரு வேலட் இருக்கா இப்போ?
Yes, sir. We are using purse.
Wallet இருக்கு. Okay. இந்த wallet இல்லன்னா நீங்க என்ன செய்வீங்க? What will you miss?
வேலட் வாங்குவோம்.
யார் வேணா ஆன்சர்
Nowadays,
பண்ணுங்க.
like phone covers are having like that wallet things, sir. So I may prefer phone covers which has that.
ஓகே, ஃபோன் கவர்ல வந்து அந்த பைசா வச்சுக்கிற மாதிரி வச்சிருவீங்க. சோ உங்களுக்கு வேலட் வந்து எதுக்காக தேவைப்படுது?
மணியை சேஃபா வச்சுக்கிறதுக்கு சார். இப்போ பாக்கெட் எல்லாம் வச்சா லூஸ் பண்ணிடுவோம். சோ சேஃபா ஒரு இடத்துல வச்சுக்கிறதுக்காக வேலட் ப்ரிஃபர் பண்றோம்.
ஓகே ஓகே, காட் இட். அண்ட் நீங்க வந்து ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் நிறைய பார்ட்டிஷன் இருக்கிற மாதிரி வேணும்னு கேட்டீங்க இல்லையா? அது எதனால? why do you want partitions? ஒரே ஒரு பார்ட்டிஷன் இருக்கிற மாதிரி purses இருக்கலாம். But why do you want many partitions?
So that we can pick things easier, sir. So money venuna we can take from the money partition, cards venuna we can take from card partition, coins na we can take from coin partition. So it will make like use பண்றதுக்கு ரொம்ப ஈஸியா இருக்கும், sir.
Got it. So when you say
மணியை பிரிச்சு வச்சுப்பேன் சார். 100 rupees மட்டும் தனியா வைப்பேன், 200 தனியா வைப்பேன், 50s எல்லாமே நான் தனியா வைப்பேன். சோ அப்படி இருக்கிறப்ப எனக்கு தனித்தனியா இருந்தா நான் ஈஸியா அந்த மணி எடுத்துருவேன் சார். அதுக்காக தான் பார்ட்டிஷன் வேணும்.
Okay, got it. And நீங்க வந்து wallet வந்து how do you carry it? Will you carry it in your hand or you have a pocket, or உங்களுக்கு வந்து bag மாதிரி இருந்தா யூஸ்ஃபுல்லா இருக்குமா? So how do you generally carry a wallet?
Personally, I carry my purse inside my handbag only, sir, because it will be easier for me. Like we don't want to hold in our hands all the time, so that I can carry it in my handbag.
I prefer handbags in a way of sling bag, and I carry it in my hand also, sir. I prefer two things: sling bag, compass, and the next one is in my hand, sir.
Got it. Okay. Thank you very much for your answers.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your participation. Sorry?
There are also another team who want to discuss.
Yeah, please go. Please go ahead.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I had gave you
Tamil கூட பேசுங்க. See if you are more comfortable in Tamil language. Sure.
So it is a real incident happened as sir. For my birthday, she has presented a bag, sir. As her observing my needs and wants, she has bought as same incident happened.
Yesterday I saw நான் வந்து இதை நேத்து பார்த்தேன் பாரு, இந்த பேக் எப்படி எனக்கு ரொம்ப பிடிக்கும் அந்த மாதிரி பேக். I also
நானும் இதான் வாங்கணும்னு நினைச்சிட்டு இருக்கேன். பட் எப்போ வாங்க போறேன்னு தெரியல. நான் அம்மாட்ட கேட்டுட்டே இருக்கேன்.
நல்லா இருக்குல்ல? ஆனா
இந்த கலர் கூட நல்லா இருக்கு.
உனக்கு எனக்கு வந்து இந்த கலர் பிடிக்கும். உனக்கு இது பிடிக்குமா?
எனக்கு வந்து டார்க் கலர்ஸ் விட லைட் கலர்ஸ் நல்லா இருக்கும்னு தோணுவேன்.
எனக்கும் அதான் பிடிக்கும். எப்படி போடுறதெல்லாம் உங்களுக்கு சைட் பேக் பிடிக்குமா இல்ல பேக் பேக் பிடிக்குமா?
இப்போ வந்து எல்லாமே டூ in 1 தான் யூஸ் பண்றாங்க. இப்போ அந்த ஸ்லிம் ஹேண்ட் பேக்கும் பேக் பேக்லயும் மாட்டிக்கலாம். அதே மாதிரி ஸ்லிம் பேக்கும் யூஸ் பண்ணலாம். அந்த மாதிரி பேக் இருந்தா
இது இந்த பிரைஸ்ல இது நல்லா
worth-ஆன்னு தெரியல.
சரி பாப்போம்.
Okay. Similarly, we will do like this.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. I have one input. I think this is excellent thing. I'm assuming that like all, I can see that all the faculties participated. I also assume that all the students participated in this, right? நிறைய பேர் நீங்க வந்து வேலட் பத்தி பேசுனீங்கன்னு நினைக்கிறேன். Hopefully. Now, ஒரு சின்ன observation I would like to share with everyone. Now, when we generally start asking questions, right, about a product, if you had observed some of the questions that I asked, like wallet இல்லனா என்ன பண்ணிருப்பீங்க, எதுக்கு உங்களுக்கு பார்ட்டிஷன் வேணும், என்ன பண்ணுவீங்க wallet. So wallet இல்லனா என்ன பண்ணுவேன் அப்படின்னா நான் பைசாவை வந்து மொபைல் போச்சு. I think you can go and sit if you want. Thank you very much. We'll continue with the session. So அந்த wallet இல்லனா என்ன பண்ணிருப்போம் அப்படின்னா என்னோட மொபைல் பவுச்சுக்குள்ள வச்சுப்பேன் அப்படின்னு சொன்னாங்க. So the most important need for her for a wallet was to have money. Okay, அது போக நிறைய விஷயம் வைக்க முடியும். இப்போ வேலட் பெருசாச்சுன்னா அதுல ஈவன் காஸ்மெட்டிக் ஐட்டம்ஸ் வச்சுக்கலாம், கார்ட்ஸ் வச்சுக்கலாம், ரைட்? And when she said money, is it only cash, is it coin, is it card? We need to understand, right? How the user pays, we do not know. அவங்க மணின்னு எல்லாம் கேஷ் வச்சிருப்பாங்க நினைச்சு டிசைன் பண்ண முடியாது. And if they are saying partitions, I need many partition, we was asking a lot of questions to understand the need behind the ask. Generally, people will say their ask, they will not say their need to you unless you probe further. That is my only observation. And generally, when we start asking questions, when we start addressing problems or understanding our users, we get into more of solutions. Okay, sling bag ஏன் வேணும், எதுக்கு வேணும், ஃபர்ஸ்ட் நம்ம புரிஞ்சுக்கிறதுக்கு முன்னாடியே என்ன கலர் வேணும் அப்படின்னு நம்ம போறோம். அது தப்பு கிடையாது. That is also very important question we should ask. But before that, are we also understanding the need? Maybe அவங்களுக்கு ஒரு ஸ்லிங் பேக்கே தேவையில்லாம இருக்கலாம். Like the example she said, right, நான் மொபைல் பவுச்சுக்குள்ள வச்சு போயிடுவேன் அப்படின்னு. அப்போ வந்து ஆக்சுவலா அது வந்து ஒரு எக்ஸ்ட்ரா கூட இருக்கலாம், நமக்கு தெரியாது. அப்போ what you need to design is maybe not a wallet, but a mobile pouch which can also top up as a wallet, right? I'm just saying example. So ask more questions, ask more whys. The only simple suggestion is ask more whys to the user. WHY. Okay, the more whys you ask, and the second level, third level கேட்கணும். ஏன் பைசா உங்களுக்கு வேணும், எனக்கு டைம் இருந்தா நான் கேட்டிருப்பேன், ஏன் பைசா எடுத்துட்டு வரீங்க, உங்களுக்கு எது தேவை, இப்பதான் யூபிஐ இருக்குல்ல, why do you want to even carry money today, right? So the more whys we ask, the better we will understand our users. And first we should even validate if a wallet is required. Now wallet design பண்ணுங்கன்னு சொல்லிட்டேன், பட் நீங்க நினைச்ச மாதிரி ஒரு வேலட்டா தான் இருக்கணும், ஸ்லிங் பேக்கா தான் இருக்கணும், அது அவசியம் இல்லை. It can be a mobile pouch, it can be even within their dress if it requires, right? We do not know. All that we want to design is a dress which also tops up as a wallet, right? The solution can be anything. So you know what kind of person, what kind of requirement your friend has. We have to now define the problem now, or define the need now. So definition. So first step we looked at empathize, right? So in empathy, what exactly we do? Understand the needs of the customer. Empathy should have only questions, not answers, no statements. Okay, we should ask question, capture the response, keep it. அங்க வந்து நம்ம வந்து that, and as I said, yes or no question கேட்க கூடாது, maximum ask descriptive questions னு சொன்னேன். Then clearly state what you want from a user's point of view. That is definition. So definition அப்படின்னா நம்ம பொதுவா சப்ஜெக்ட்ல நிறைய டெஃபினிஷன் படிச்சிருப்போம் இல்லையா? இது வந்து சப்ஜெக்ட் மாதிரியான டெஃபினிஷன் வந்து ஒரு ஃபேக்ட் எல்லா இடத்துலயும் அதே மாதிரி இருக்கிறதுக்காக நம்ம டிஃபைன் பண்ணுவோம். பட் இங்க வந்து we are defining it for a user. அப்போ இதுக்கு ஒரு, this is a very good example of how a definition, if you don't empathize with their user, this is how a definition will be, right? I am assuming a lot of you might have seen this comedy, right? And இதை நான் எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ணல, but I'm just saying, நம்ம அதை சரியா டிஃபைன் பண்ணல ப்ராப்ளம் அப்படின்னா என்ன ஆயிடும் இந்த மாதிரி தான் ஆகும். So first you should understand and then get into defining. So this is a small template which we can use to define. It's also called a point of view statement. So the empathize la நம்ம கேள்வி கேட்டோம். Point of view statement la we are trying to define the need of the user. Okay, now you are going to use this template. I'm going to share some examples as well. You're going to use this template, take 2 minutes, and then define a point of view statement for the need which you had spoken to your friend. Individual, avungalukku neenga enna kettringa, other base panni you're going to write a point of view statement. Okay, but before that I'll share some examples on what a point of view statement can look like. So it should start, the first word in the point of view statement is the user. Okay, for example, if person A and person B, I'm just random names to random. Let's say if there is a person called Kritika and there is a person called, let's say, a Saranya. So Kritika is the person who is trying to solve the problem. Saranya is the customer. Apo first word should be Saranya. So நீங்க அப்படிதான் define பண்ணணும். Or the person who is sitting next to you, the person needs to, okay, needs to அவங்களோட need என்ன, okay? So it might be a wallet or it might be whatever need you have identified, right? So for example, they need to have a purse or a wallet or something to carry their money because, so yeah, avungalukku yen adu venum, because what is the insight you got? Okay, user yaru, avangaloda need enna purinjiktinga, and need la irundhu ungalku enna insight kedaikudhu. I'll give you some examples. For example, young girls or teenage girl need to eat nutritious food. So need enna appadina, they need to eat, user yaringa teenage girls, they need to eat nutritious food consistently. Why? Because they want to grow in a healthy way. Appo avangalukku nutritious food venum அப்படிங்கிறது நம்மளோட point of view statement, அதோட need. And for example, we'll take one more example. Okay, Sally is an IT employee and you are asking her questions and she said, I want to enter daily time. இப்போ நம்ம காலேஜ்ல அட்டெண்டன்ஸ் இருக்கிற மாதிரி ஆஃபீஸ்ல வந்து டைம் ஷீட்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. அண்ட் அது வந்து அதுக்கு ரொம்ப டைம், சில ஆஃபீஸ்ல ரொம்ப அது மேனுவலா இருக்கும், நிறைய டைம் எடுக்கும். ஸோ ஷீ சேயிங் ஐ நீட் டு குவிக்லி என்டர் டைம் ஃபார் மை ப்ராஜெக்ட்ஸ் பிகாஸ் ஷீ வாண்ட்ஸ் டு ஸ்பெண்ட் மோர் டைம் ஆன் ஜாப் ரெஸ்பான்சிபிலிட்டிஸ். I think many faculties will relate to this, right? I'm in college for 7 hours. I want to spend maximum time on teaching, but I am spending significant time on other administrative activities, right? So let's say the problem statement is I want to quickly complete the administrative activities because I want to spend more time on academic activities, right? Or a shopper, let's say you yourself might be the user and who shops for more than 3 to 4 items. Plastic bag cover eduthukaama poidrom. So they need plastic bags to carry because they need something to hold the items. In kaile thukit polame. இப்போ ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் நேற்று ஒரு கடைக்கு நான் போனேன், பைக்ல போனேன், எதுவுமே எடுத்துக்காம போயிட்டேன். அந்த கடையில பிளாஸ்டிக் கவரும் தர மாட்டேன்னு சொல்லிட்டாங்க. நான் 4 ஐட்டம் வாங்கணும். ஓகே, நான் எத்தனை கையில வச்சுக்க முடியும்னு பார்த்தேன். கையிலயோ இல்ல பாக்கெட்லயோ வச்சுட்டு பைக் ஓட்ட முடியும், அந்த ஐட்டம்ஸ் மட்டும் தான் நான் பாக்கெட்ல வச்சுட்டு வந்தேன். நான் இப்ப எங்கிட்ட ஒரு கவர் வந்துருந்துச்சு அப்படின்னாவோ இல்ல அவங்க ஒரு கவர் கொடுத்துருந்தாங்கன்னா இன்னும் 2-3 ஐட்டம் அந்த கடையில எக்ஸ்ட்ரா வாங்கி இருந்திருப்பேன். So same example, the need is I need something to hold on to my items. It could be a plastic bag. So in the example, don't just say the person needs a wallet. Okay, you should define what is the need behind the wallet and then why do they need the wallet. Wallet illana enna agum, and the need vandu okay, avanga kitta wallet oda purpose mattu kedaiyadhu. So insight is more of the purpose that you understand, right? For example, orthar enakku vandu nalla flashy color venum solranga. Okay, so she needs a wallet for going daily because she sees it as a status symbol. I'm just saying, okay, if that is the need, that is the insight you got. அவங்க அதை சொல்லல, பட் மேபி தட்ஸ் த இன்சைட் யூ காட். இந்த இன்சைட்டுங்கிறது யூஸ்வலா அவங்க டைரக்டா உங்ககிட்ட சொன்ன விஷயமா இருக்காது, நீங்க புரிஞ்சுக்கிட்ட விஷயமா இருக்கும் அந்த பாயிண்ட் ஆஃப் வியூ ஸ்டேட்மெண்ட். அண்ட் தெர் இஸ் ஆல்சோ ஒன் மோர் டூல், ஹவு மைட் வி ஸ்டேட்மெண்ட்ஸ் அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவோம். அண்ட் this will also help us construct better, define the problem better. Okay, this will go into more of solutioning thing. I'll come to this, but point of view statement, we will pause here. So it is 12:01. We will take about 2 minutes Exactly. And let's see. Define a point of view statement. No interaction now. No interaction required. Based on the questions you had asked, define a point of view statement. உங்க ஃப்ரெண்டுக்கு நீங்க ஒரு ப்ராடக்ட் டிசைன் பண்ணி தரணும்னு நினைச்சீங்க இல்லையா, அதை டிஃபைன் பண்ண போறீங்க நீங்க இந்த ஸ்டேட்மெண்ட் யூஸ் பண்ணி. So user needs to, what is the need, because what is the insight you got. It will take exactly 2 minutes. You can write it on your notebook or mobile, whichever you have. Define a point of view statement, and would like to quickly listen to 2-3 statements very quickly. Statement is just 1 or 2 lines. So we should quickly move on. We are now in the second step. We need to cover 3 more steps quickly. I'll go off video for a minute. Please write the point of view statement. I'll be back in a minute. I'll stop sharing. Can we quickly listen to some statements? I hope some of you are able to write the point of view statement. Just 1 or 2 lines, not essays. Sure,
Good
please.
afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
So I've come up with the example. My friend who lives in a city needs a car, maybe for maybe for 40 minutes. She has a trip. She needs to go to college every day. So, but she doesn't need a own car. She doesn't need to own a car. So this is the example, sir. The insight is my friend doesn't need to own a car as it could be expensive compared to her need. She likes to share the car with others, maybe who have the similar needs, sir.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any point of view statement related to the ballot that you decide? Not others, any others in the valid sambandhama. This is very good example of a point of view. Maybe the statement you have kind of captured the needs, but if you make it into a statement, then it will make the problem very concrete. For one line statement, template you change but good needs, good insights captured.
Okay, sir.
Anyone else has a statement, especially related to the ballot or anything else? One line statement, nasana template la. Is anyone else coming? We have to quickly move on. Okay, I think we'll move on in case just to, in the interest of time, if that's okay. I'll share my screen once again. So we looked at point of view statement and I'll skip this for now. How might be is another thing, but see, the point and it was statement because empathize and define are still in the problem state. Okay, problem understand. So we have the key aspect, as I mentioned, is we are spending enough time to understand the person and the problem.
So sorry to interrupt, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
A student is here to give her example, sir.
Please go ahead.
Teenage girls need to switch off their mobile so that they can able to communicate with the other people for help, so that it will be useful for them. Teenage girls must have a lot of money so that they can develop their knowledge by joining any online courses.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. So I would encourage you to define a point of view statement, not now, but think about it. With your customer kitten, you asked about a valid that they wanted, right? And then our need understand pantinga. If on the need ideally what you should do next is you have to create a point of view statement for that valid. And you should ask them if this is correct. If this point of view statement makes sense to you. Then you have to get into the ideation or the solution step. Okay. Now comes ideation. So ideation is something which all of us are good at, right? I will just tell 2-3 things around ideation because I'm not going to spend a lot of time on ideation. The only objective of ideation phase should be to generate a lot of ideas. Okay, not the best idea, not the right idea. We are not getting into evaluation stage. We are getting into ideation. So we should not be critical of any idea. Many times we do as a group to solve a problem, right? The first step is to listen to all ideas. The final idea could be a combination of multiple things, right? Then it will also kill the spirit of ideation. So in that sense, the objective of ideation is not to get the best idea, but to get a lot of ideas. Okay. So we are generating potentially creative solutions. We still do not know if it will work or not, right? And so the best way, as you see here, is to get a best way to get a good idea is to get a lot of ideas. So some general thumb rules around ideation. Do not judge first. Defer judgment. We are not saying you should not judge, but defer judgment. First, get all the ideas, then get into evaluation and go for volume. you want to solve a problem, the more complex it is, the more ideas you should get. At least or 10 to 15 ideas are ஒரே ப்ராப்ளம்க்கு இருக்கணும். So earlier ma'am said, right, one of the faculties who spoke said, right, design thinking na enna appadina, there are many ways to solve a problem சொன்னாங்க இல்லையா. So there are many ideas should be first considered. Then you can look at building on the ideas of others. ரெண்டு ஐடியாவை கிளப் பண்ணி ஒன்னு எடுத்துட்டு வர முடியுமா அப்படின்னு பார்க்கலாம். For example, take அந்த first point of view statement சொன்னாங்க இல்லையா, கம்யூட் பண்ணணும், ஓன் பண்ணக்கூடாது, அதே மாதிரி ரைட் ஷேர் பண்ண முடிஞ்சா நல்லா இருக்கும் அப்படின்னு. ஸோ ஐடியலி அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு பர்சனுக்கு என்ன ஒரு ஊபர் மாதிரி ஒரு சொல்யூஷன் தேவைப்படலாம், ரைட்? பட் பிஃபோர் ஊபர் கேம் இன், there was never an idea of a platform where you can go and get a cab, right? You have to either call somebody or take it on rent. But அந்த பிளாட்ஃபார்ம்ங்கிற கான்செப்டே இருந்திருக்காது if that idea was just limited to either renting a car or buying a car, right? Now, so we have to build on the ideas of others and leverage the power of constraints. Constraint is always good. நம்ம நிறைய டைம் என்ன பண்ணுவோம், கன்ஸ்ட்ரெயின்ட் நமக்கு வந்து ஒரு தடையா இருக்கும், நல்லா செய்யறதுக்கு நிறைய வேலை நினைப்போம். ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள், கோவிட்ல வந்து கன்ஸ்ட்ரெயின்ட் என்ன, நம்மளால பிசிக்கலா பண்ண முடியாது, ரைட்? இப்போ இந்த செஷன்ல வந்து என்னோட கன்ஸ்ட்ரெயின்ட் என்ன அப்படின்னா, I can't in person see you, right? But sometimes constraints are also useful. Let me tell you an example. Now, in the design thinking workshop kind of PPT வந்து நான் வந்து ரொம்ப நாள் முன்னாடி பண்ணணும்னு நினைச்சிட்டு இருந்தேன். பட் இந்த செஷன் ஷெட்யூல் பண்ணதுக்கு அப்புறம் தான் நான் வந்து ஒர்க் பண்ண ஆரம்பிச்சேன். இந்த செஷன் ஷெட்யூல் ஆல அப்படின்னா அது பண்ணிருக்கவே மாட்டேன். It would have just got delayed. I'm saying constraint was the particular date I have to deliver this session. That made me create this whole thing. Otherwise, it would have not happened at all. Or it would have happened much, much later. And we should challenge assumptions. Somebody is assuming, so ask more why questions. Don't assume that the user will need this. Sometimes they need red color. Ask why. Red might not be the color that will really go well with them. Or, for example, அவங்க ரெட் கேட்பாங்களா இருக்கும், பட் அவங்க கிட்ட அதுக்கு மேட்சிங் ட்ரெஸ்ஸே இருக்காதா இருக்கும். If you're designing a sling bag or a wallet, maybe or may not be, right? So don't assume just based on what they say. Ask deeper questions and challenge assumptions in ideas. ஐடியாஸ்ல வந்து ஓகே, இப்ப வேலெட் நான் சொன்னேன் இல்லைங்களா, வேலெட்னா கையில எடுத்துட்டு போற மாதிரி தான் இருக்கணும்னு அவசியம் இல்லை. அது ஒரு ஸ்லிங் பேக்கா இருக்கலாம். அவங்க சொன்ன மாதிரி மொபைல் போச்சு வேலெட்டை டாப் அப் ஆகலாம். வேலெட் தேவையில்லாம கூட இருக்கலாம், லைக் யூபிஐ, ரைட்? or அவங்க ட்ரெஸ்லயே ஒரு வேலெட் டிசைன் பண்ணலாம். So these are all assumptions that we have, that wallet should be like this. Always challenge your assumptions. So these are the only things. So first step, we should generate ideas, then try to marry some ideas. இதே அதையும் பில்ட் பண்ணி ஒரு புது ஐடியா கிரியேட் பண்ண முடியுமான்னு பார்க்கலாம். Then get into evaluation. So the last step of ideation is when you start evaluating the ideas, not the first step. First, you should get a lot of ideas. Then start evaluating the idea with respect to the point of view statement. For example, in the point of view statement, if somebody needs a wallet because they need to carry their money. Let's say I'm putting a very simple thing, right? Then we will ask, how might we help them on these aspects, right? So our point of view statement can have multiple how might we statements. So how might we inspire them? If teenage girls wants to take up nutritious food, there are different ways in which we can make them do. You can inspire them. You can make it more affordable or accessible to them. All that we are mere tastier to them so that they take up this, right? These are different ways to solve the same problem. So there are 100 ideas for this problem. But the key point is you should start testing some of the ideas. So the key evaluation step in an idea is only testing. Shortlist பண்ணுங்க சில ஐடியாஸ். எது வந்து பாயிண்ட் ஆஃப் ஸ்டேட்மெண்ட்க்கு ரொம்ப ரெலவெண்டா இருக்குன்னு சொல்லி ஷார்ட்லிஸ்ட் பண்ணுங்க. But shortlisted idea need not be the best idea, because in solution, the next key step is prototyping. This is very important. நம்ம வந்து ப்ராப்ளம் ஐடென்டிஃபை பண்ணிட்டோம், பட் ஐடியேஷன் வந்து இப்போ ஒரு பர்ஸை வந்து கம்ப்ளீட்டா டிசைன் பண்ணி முடிச்சுட்டு அப்புறம் மேனுஃபேக்சர் பண்ணிட்டு வந்து நல்லா இல்லைன்னு சொல்லக்கூடாது. ஸோ ப்ரோட்டோடைப் இஸ் வெரி சிம்பிள். பில்டிங் அ ரெப்ரசன்டேஷன் ஆஃப் யுவர் ஐடியா. அப்படின்னா என்ன, ஒரு புதுசா பர்ஸ் கிரியேட் பண்ணணும்னு அவசியம் இல்லை. இட் கேன் பி அ டிராயிங். ஒரு பேப்பர்ல பர்ஸ் கிரியேட் பண்ணி இந்த மாதிரி தான் வேணுமான்னு ஃபர்ஸ்ட் கேட்கலாம் மேனுஃபேக்சர் பண்றதுக்கு முன்னாடி. That's a prototype. I'm sure you would have gone through prototypes in your experience, right? Many of you someday. It can be a drawing, it can be a design. That's a final output. Anything that can represent your idea of the solution, okay? It's still not the solution. You're representing an idea of the solution, that's the prototype. Now this should be done very much closely with the user. நான் வந்து அவங்க கிட்ட இப்ப பர்ஸ் வேணுமான்னு கேட்டேன், பர்ஸ்க்கு எதுக்காக வேலட் வேணும்னு கேட்டேன், அதை பேஸ் பண்ணி பாயிண்ட் ஆஃப் வியூ ஸ்டேட்மெண்ட் டிஃபைன் பண்ணி அது கரெக்டா நான் உங்கள்கிட்ட கேட்டேன். ஸோ எவ்ரி ஸ்டேஜ் ஐ எம் ஒர்க்கிங் வித் யூசர். ஓகே, ஐ எம் நாட் சேயிங் தட் யூசர் கிட்ட நான் கேட்டேன்னா முடிஞ்சு கடைசியா நான் பர்ஸை கொண்டு போய் கொடுத்துருவேன், சர்ப்ரைஸ் பண்ணுங்கிறது கிடையாது. ஓகே, சர்ப்ரைஸ் பண்ற மாதிரி கிடையாது. இது அவங்களுக்கு ஒரு பெஸ்ட் வேலட் கொடுக்கணும் அப்படிங்கிறது நம்மளோட அப்ஜெக்டிவ். ஸோ வி generate a lot of ideas, எப்படிலாம் வேலட் இருக்கலாம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு. தென் we pick one idea which we think is most relevant and test it. இது வந்து டெஸ்டிங் எப்போ பண்ணும், 1 week 2 weeks குவிக்கா பண்ணும். இந்த ப்ரோட்டோடைப் டெஸ்டிங் ஐடியேஷன் எல்லாம் ரொம்ப ஷார்ட் டியூல பண்ணும். ஒரு வேலட் டிசைன் பண்றது சின்ன விஷயம்னா ஒரு 1 or 2 hours பண்ணும். So you design a representation. What could be a prototype? Anything that is used to aid the user experience of your innovation. நம்ம என்ன நினைக்கிறோம் நம்மளுக்கு புரிய வைக்கணும். எதுக்காக அப்படின்னா அவங்க அதை நம்ம சரியா புரிஞ்சுட்டு இருக்கோம்னு அவங்ககிட்ட ஃபீட்பேக் கேட்கறதுக்கு. So the key point is you have to fail early. Your first idea may not be the best idea. Okay, the first idea test பண்ணி பார்க்கறோம், அது ஒர்க் ஆலையா, செகண்ட் ஐடியா டெஸ்ட் பண்றோம். So the whole objective will be experimentation, not getting into the solution quickest manner. அது கிடையாது objective. Getting into an experimentation mode and being able to solve it. So உங்களோட ரெப்ரசன்டேஷன் பியூட்டிஃபுல்லா இருக்கணும்னு அவசியம் இல்லை. ஒரு பேனால ஒரு பென்சில்ல வந்து அதை வரைஞ்சி இப்படி இருக்கணுமான்னு கேட்டா கூட போதும், இல்ல பேப்பர்ல வச்சு காட்டினா கூட போதும். ஸோ இட் கேன் பி அ மாக் அப், அ ஸ்டோரி போர்ட், அ வயர் ஃப்ரேம். ஒரு டெக்னாலஜி சொல்யூஷன் பண்ணீங்கன்னா இட் கேன் பி அ வயர் ஃப்ரேம், பேப்பர்ல எழுதி காட்டலாம். ஆர் இட் கேன் பி மினிமம், பேர் மினிமம் அந்த ப்ராடக்ட்ல என்ன தேவை, அவங்களுக்கு பைசா வைக்க பர்ஸ் தேவையா, ரொம்ப மினிமமான ஒரு ப்ராடக்ட்டை ஃபர்ஸ்ட் டிசைன் பண்ணி அவங்கள்ட்ட கொடுத்து இது ஓகேவா அப்படின்னு கேட்கலாம். அதுல அவங்க ஃபீட்பேக் சொல்லுவாங்க, இது மட்டும் எனக்கு பத்தாது, இல்லை இப்படி இருக்கக்கூடாது அப்படின்ட்டு. தென் யூ டிசைன் சம்திங் எல்ஸ், ரைட்? So we can start with the drawing first, draw பண்ணி காட்டலாம். And it need not be beautiful or complete. So you don't have to be very good painter for doing this. Okay. So if you see in empathize, we converge. So empathize la நிறைய கேள்வி கேட்கிறோம், நிறைய கேள்வி கேட்டு then we diverge and define. That is, we shortlist some needs and we come up with point of view statements, right? We can coming up with few point of view statements from hundreds of questions that we asked. Then when we pick up one point of view statement and come up with ideas, you come up with lot of ideas, right? And after coming up with lot of ideas, you pick up one idea for prototyping which you think might work. Again, it is need not be the best idea. Then you test it, and then this is an iterative process. டக்குன்னு டெஸ்ட் பண்ணோம், ஓகே இந்த ஐடியா ஒர்க் ஆலையா, அடுத்த ஐடியாக்கு போயிடும். So the whole objective is to fail early. Okay, it is not to succeed but to fail early. If you keep failing early, you will succeed at some point of time. I'll share you some 2-3 interesting case studies of how design thinking actually helped solve real life problems, and I'll kind of wrap up this session. I know that we have lost. Ideally, if we had done this in person, we could have had more experimentation. I think 15-20 minutes we could have saved if I would have been there in person, which could have used in doing things and more interaction. But given the constraint today, maybe we'll look at this. This is called an embrace baby warmer. You can Google pani paakalam. See, many children, when they are born, immediately they need ventilator support for breathing for the first few hours. And because that was not available in many parts of the world, like underdeveloped countries, where many children were dying. If you have to set up a real ventilator, it will cost lakhs of rupees, which was not affordable and accessible. And it needed high power, which was not again available in every nook and corner of the world. So how can we save children? So idukku vandu design thinking apply panni, you can Google for embrace baby warmer abdinu. There's a beautiful video on how they solved this problem, how thousands and thousands of children are being saved every day because of a very simple solution. And the solution is something like this. This cost around 3,000 to 5,000 rupees. So பிறந்த குழந்தைய வந்து இந்த ரைட் சைட்ல நீங்க பாக்குறதுல என்ன இருக்குன்னா, there will be some materials which will hold the temperature. So actually ஒரு இந்த செட்டப் என்ன பண்ணுதுன்னா, it is keeping the baby warm and it is helping the baby to breathe. That's the whole thing. And if that had to be done in a very simple way, the whole point is to keep the baby warm. And this solution was done in the உலகத்துல எங்கெல்லாம் ஒரு complete medical setup பண்ண முடியாதோ அங்க this saved many lives. So please Google for embrace baby warmer during your lunch time and see about it. There is a beautiful video or talk about how this design thinking was applied in every step. Okay, so this is one. I'll take one more example. This is a problem in many schools, right? And there are schools which cannot afford a lot of water. At the same time, they need hygienic and odor-free urinals. So இதை வந்து எப்படி சால்வ் பண்ணாங்க? We can look at doing different things, right? நிறைய தண்ணி யூஸ் பண்ற மாதிரி, இல்ல வந்து ஸ்மெல் போறதுக்கு வந்து நமக்கு வந்து we can use some effervescence, some freshness இந்த மாதிரி பண்ணி. But all this will cost many resources. Let's say if you have to implement this in a remote rural school where maybe children are coming from very poor sections, you can't put so much money in this infrastructure. So this is a very simple solution, right? On how design thinking was applied in each of these solutions. In fact, they applied design thinking to solve this. I'll also share one more thing. So schools la வந்து இந்த மாதிரி waste segregation means நம்ம நிறைய இடத்துல பார்த்திருப்போம். இது வந்து நிஜமாவே ஒரு ஸ்கூல்ல ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ் சால்வ் பண்ண ஒரு ப்ராப்ளம் டிசைன் திங்கிங் அப்ளை பண்ணி. இது ஒரு கவர்மெண்ட் ஸ்கூல்ல எவ்வளவுதான் கலர் டஸ்ட்பின்ஸ் வச்சாலும் ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ் மாத்தி போட்டிருந்தாங்க. ஸோ அவங்களே வந்து இந்த ப்ராப்ளம் அட்ரஸ் பண்றதுக்கு வந்து they came up with a solution. Ma'am, can you please confirm if I'm audible, because my video is frozen. Just a quick confirmation if I'm audible and clear. Okay, thank you. I hope I'm audible. Thank you. Great. So இது வந்து ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸே டிசைன் பண்ண ஒரு விஷயம். This is by a set of school students in a government school. Problem என்னன்னா, people didn't know, அவசரத்துல வந்து என்ன இருக்கு அப்படின்னு தெரியாம மாத்தி போட்டிருந்தாங்க. If you look at it, they looked at two types of solutions. One is you look at the whole, எந்த மாதிரி ப்ராடக்ட்ஸ் அதுக்குள்ள அந்த ஹோல்குள்ள போகுமோ அது மட்டும் தான் போக முடியும். Plus it was very transparent so that they could see what is in and people could put the right bin to the right waste to the right bin. And if you see, this is how they designed. இதை இந்த ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ் எப்படி பண்ணாங்க அப்படிங்கிறதுக்கும் டிசைன் திங்கிங் அப்ளை பண்ணதுக்கு there is a website called Reap Benefit. I can share this link if you see on my screen, https://reapbenefit.org. This is an organization which helps people in solving problems, especially with students and other things, using design thinking, simple aspects of design thinking. So இது வந்து the entire process, they did a lot of things before they came up with this. Even in the solution which I am showing, even before they came up with this, they did a lot of things. In fact, அவங்க வந்து ஒரு first table tennis ball இதுக்குள்ள போட்டாங்க order வராம இருக்கிறதுக்கு, because table tennis ball will also have that effervescence. It's a very simple solution, and it will also not let people, it will not enter solid materials உள்ள போகாம இருக்கிறதுக்கு. And then the odor problem was solved, and then materials உள்ள போய் அந்த அடைச்சுக்காம இருக்கிற பிரச்சனையும் சால்வ் ஆச்சு. So they did different iterations before they came up with this. This was the final solution, and the entire process was applied by a set of 6th to 7th government school children to solve it. And these are real life problems. So I think this is something which you can apply to everyday life, whether it is about teaching, making our classrooms more interesting, doing a project in college, for example, or addressing a civic issue. அல்லது வீட்ல வந்து ஒரு ப்ராப்ளம் இருக்கு, அதை எப்படி சால்வ் பண்ணும், எல்லாத்துக்குமே இதை வந்து அப்ளை பண்ண முடியும். The whole thing is we should look at understanding. The whole point is understand the problem, understand whom you are trying to solve the problem for. I would have said this so many times because that's very important. So if you see in these 5 steps, the whole point is about spending enough time on the problem. And then in the solution part, be more experimentative, right? And don't fix one solution as the best solution. Be more experimentative so that you fail early and get into the right solution. So in short, if you see, these are some of the tools that we can use. So for empathizing, we have to ask a lot of questions. You can create something called an empathy map or a stakeholder map. You can Google for this. So in define, we can use a point of view statement, and some other tools could be 5-why analysis. 5-why is basically asking enough number of why this, then another layer of why, right? And how might we address this problem? Will take you from definition to ideation. So ideation the whole point is it should not be judgmental. First focus on many ideas and then pick some ideas which you think don't spend too much time in identifying which is the best idea. Okay, pick some ideas which make sense one by one, start prototyping it, ask the user, test it, fail fast, and then keep rotating this process, right? Keep repeating this process. Then take the next idea. It's not working. Take the third idea. Even if it's not working, go back to the point of your statement. Take another point of your statement. Do the same process. So it's a very iterative thing. Maybe the whole thing I'm saying any problem we should solve in a few days or a few hours, maximum few weeks, even if it's a very big problem. And that's how design thinking works. So happy problem solving. I do not know how much of a sense this made and with this kind of a mode of interaction. But thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, even with all the constraints. From whatever I listened, you've been great audience. Thank you so much. I hope you're taking this back and don't wait to apply it. Just start applying it right from the time you step out of this room. Thank you so much for the college management, all the faculties, IQAC team, and all the audience for giving me this opportunity. I wish I was in person, but this is what we could do with the limitations we had.
A warm afternoon to one and all present here. I'm honored to have the opportunity to propose vote of thanks for this session. On behalf of our IQAC team, I would like to extend our sincere thanks to our esteemed speaker, Mr. Vishwanath Radhakrishnan Sir, Head, Social Initiative, Landmark Group, for his enlightening and insightful session on the topic, Role of Research in Daily Life, Understanding Design Thinking. Our heartfelt thanks for your informative session, sir. Thank you for providing us with a valuable insight on the importance of design thinking and how it plays a vital role in our daily life. Throughout your engaging and interactive session, you have explained the concept of design thinking, which is a problem-solving approach that helps in identifying and resolving complex problems effectively. As you have said, we will ask whys until there is no more whys, sir. We are grateful for the knowledge and wisdom that you have imparted to us. Once again, I thank you, sir, for the inspiring session. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. We finally get to see the audience. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. We'll
So thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
So it's always indeed a great pleasure to listen to you. So on behalf of IQAC and our college, it's like indeed, thank you so much for your valuable time.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
So I would like to request our VP, SFS, Dr. Victoria, to share a few words.
Sure, ma'am.
So thank you so much, sir. It's a design thinking class. So this session is very much useful. Really, I think it will be very useful for our students in part of design thinking. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Can I drop off, ma'am?
Sir?
Can I drop off? Can I leave the bridge?
Sir, shall we leave the meeting, sir?
Sure, sure. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Have a nice
Thank you,
time.
one and all.
Thank you, sir.
Have a nice
Thank you so
afternoon.
much,
Bye.
sir.